Hey everyone, it's Desy Cheng, and as a content creator and a YouTuber, one of my biggest challenges as a product reviewer is being able to film myself in a more creative, dynamic way. I mean, a lot of stuff sometimes I do as, just camera and a tripod because I'm a solo filmmaker. However, sometimes I just need that extra, flair. And this is the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX, and I have been using this for the past few weeks. I haven't been using it for a long time, but I will have to say that this is a little bit of a game changer. This has definitely helped me over the past, couple videos-ish in terms of getting some better B-roll. And something that I actually never really knew I wanted. But full disclosure, HOVERAir did send this review unit for my honest YouTube review. They do not get to preview it before it gets published. I'm not getting paid by them, but I do get to keep it. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is kind of showing you all of the kind of different modes that this HOVERAir has to offer, run you through some of the features, and I'll tell you what I didn't like about this thing and also what I do like about it. And hopefully by the end of it, it'll help you decide whether this HOVERAir device is going to be right for you or not. So a few quick basic things. This is the Pro Max, and then you're kind of wondering, is the Pro versus the Pro Max worth it? For me, yes. The main thing is that the Pro Max has 10-bit color. So that means when you are editing your videos, you can actually tweak the colors a little bit more than you can with your normal 8-bit color modes. It also has 8K, but for me, I don't care about the 8K because when you're shooting in the 8K mode, you can't use the 10-bit color. You have to use just like the standard color. So for me, the 4K, 24p and 60p are the modes that I would be using most, and also using it in the cine mode, which has the 10-bit color. But yeah, that's the one big thing that you should know. I would say spend the extra money, get the Pro Max. Also, as an additional thing, you can purchase this beacon. It's a beacon and a controller combo. The controllers, I don't have a huge use for it. Essentially, you can change it so that it's a remote control, and you can kind of fly the drone more normally like a drone, so you have free range. You can just kind of do whatever you want with it. But for me, the beacon is kind of like the bigger thing, because when I'm biking around, and if I am going to be doing like a bike review or something like that, I can actually mount this to my handlebars, and I can get a preview of what I am actually filming, making sure the drone is still behind me, and things like that. So what I like most about this drone is just how easy it is. Look how small it is. You can throw this into a bag. It's fairly durable. I don't feel like I'm gonna break it. Unless you smash it, then you will break it. But essentially, it's super simple, and you just gotta unfold it, press one button to turn it on, press another button just to actually fly it. You don't need a remote control. The app is good to have just to kind of change some settings around, but the app isn't even necessarily, it's not really required. But the other thing I really like about it is just the whole seamless integration with your app and this. For me to connect my phone to this thing to change modes and stuff like that, it's a few seconds, and I've actually had a perfect success ratio in terms of, sometimes when you try and connect your app to your device, there's always sometimes issues or it doesn't work. You got to restart it, things like that. I've had no problem connecting it directly with the drone. Where it does become a problem is when you do introduce the beacon as well, because that's like 3 different things that's going on. You pretty much just need to connect the beacon and this all together at once, and then you just got to turn it off. And if you want to connect it to your phone, then connect those two. Okay, so now let's dive into the HOVERAir. So when you purchase it, it does come in a nice case like this. I think this is the basic combo package. So you have the unit itself right here. The first thing you want to do, power it on, download the app, sync it up, and then what you want to do is you want to update the firmware. That's the first thing that you want to do. After you have done all of that, it is very, very simple to use. So when you use, all you got to do is just got to unfold it just like that. There's a sensor down here. When you single press it once, it will just tell you what the percentage is left. Right now it's got 42%. Press and hold it for 3 seconds, and it will actually turn on. and you have to wait, and then you got to make sure that the camera is facing you, so you got to hold this up to your eye level, and then it'll kind of like connect to against your eye.
Current mode, orbit.
So right now it will start off and it'll say that what the current mode is. And there's a bunch of different modes, which I'll show you in a sec on the app. But essentially, whenever you just want to fly, you don't need a remote or anything like that. Right when you're in this kind of standby mode, you just got to press this button once, hold it out in front of your face, and then the propellers will turn on, and then it will launch. And then it will return back to you kind of, and then you just gotta stick your hand out right underneath it, and then it will land and it'll go back into this standby mode. Now a couple things is, yes, it can be as easy as flipping it out and pressing this button twice, essentially turn it on, and then pressing it to launch. But you also need to set the settings, and you got to do everything within the app. So while this camera is actually, before I kind of get into the app to change the fine tune the settings, you can do some basic settings here. So for example, there's a left and right button, so you can change the modes. So right now I'm in the zoom out mode. And then right now, as you can tell, you can't really see, but it says 30 meters and high. So what you can do is if you press and hold this, it'll start flashing or blinking. Then you can change it to 15 meters, 9 meters, 6 meters, 3 meters, 1.5 meters, and it goes back to 30 meters. Once you want that to, when you want to set it, you just got to press that button. Same thing with this side, you got to press and hold, and you got to change the altitude. So right now it's high, you can do low, or you can do flat, which is pretty much just the middle height. And then you just gotta click that. So yeah, there are certain things that you can change on this drone itself. However, if you want to change your video settings, your frame rate, all that kind of stuff, you have to do that within the app. So next, let's get into the flight modes. There are a bunch of different flight modes. I'm just going to quickly go through them. Hover is essentially when the drone is like a tripod. It'll just stay in one spot. However, when you move left or right, the drone will track you and they will pan with you wherever you kind of go, but it will stay in that one spot. Zoom out. Pretty self-explanatory. The drone will zoom all the way out and while filming you, and then it'll stop, and then it'll actually separate another clip, and it'll fly all the way back into you as another clip. You can also change all the parameters of this zoom out. So for example, you can change the distance if you want out 30 meters, or there's 30 meters, 15, 9, 6, 3, and 1.5 meters. A flat shot, so meaning that it's the altitude. So if you want it just to go straight out, or if you want to go straight up high, or you can actually go low. So you have a bunch of different options there. You do have your follow mode. This is the mode that I use the most, because when I'm doing backpack reviews, I want the camera to be behind me, following me, walking, things like that. And same thing, you can essentially just change the distance of it and whether you want it higher or lower. And then there is the orbit mode. Orbit mode is also another one that I would probably use. The second most used one I would use. This will essentially circle your body in one spot. And again, you can change the radius, whether it be 2.5 meters all the way up to 6 meters. And then what else? You can change the altitude of that as well. And you can also change the orientation, whether you go counterclockwise or clockwise around you. There's bird's eye view. I don't really use this much, but pretty self-explanatory what that is. There is dolly track. There is ski mode, which I don't use because I don't ski, but I do snowboard, but it's not that season yet. Cycling mode. This one I will be using as well because I actually have an e-bike on the way, which I will be reviewing. And this is gonna be great because if I'm gonna be riding like a further, longer distance, and I want to be filming myself doing that, the cycling mode is great because you can change how far and how high that camera is. And the other thing that they sent me was this beacon here, and the beacon, which I'll kind of jump into, essentially it's got this small little LCD screen, and that's going to essentially give me a preview of the image that it's filming. So that's going to be great because then I know that the drone is still behind me, I'm still in frame, there's no issues, things like that. But what else? So the cycling mode, there's indoor follow, and then there's also 360 spin. 360 spin, essentially the camera stays in one spot, and then it just does a slow kind of spin around just to kind of get the entire environment. So those are all the modes that you can do. And there's also all these other different settings like sound recording and all this other kind of stuff. But within each one of these modes, like just for example, let's go to this orbit mode. Within the orbit mode, we're going to talk about the camera settings here. So in the camera settings, you can apply all these camera settings to all of the modes, which is great. But let's talk about normal first. So normal, normal is just gonna be your standard, whatever like your phone shoots. It just kind of all the colors are saturated, everything's contrasty, things like that. That's what that mode is. Then they also have eggshell G mode. You also have a slow mode. You also have a hover cine mode, which I will probably be using the most. And there's also HDR mode. What else? Then you can also change the frame rates as well. So just to let you know, as I mentioned before, this is the Pro Max model, meaning that you can shoot up to 8K, which is great. However, you cannot do 10-bit color with it, meaning that for me personally, I'm just gonna be shooting 4K, 24 frames or 60 frames, and instead of normal mode, I'll be probably shooting hover cine most of the time. And you can also change your video encoding from H.264 to H.265. But it's pretty easy. You just gotta essentially, once you have it in this one, you gotta apply to all the modes and it's applied successfully, and you can switch it. And then it changes right there. But yeah, those are essentially all of the modes and all of the features of the app. Okay, so quickly talking about the beacon. The beacon device, it also comes with these remote controllers, which you can kind of snap on. And to get the accessories to snap onto the side, it's just essentially just got these kind of clips. Now, and these clips, this is kind of where my first negative is with the clips. Right now, it kind of did its job, but I'm not sure if you can tell. It's very, very difficult to see once it kind of focuses. But as you can tell, it's not 100% in. It looks like it's like 0.5 millimeter out. You do have to make sure those things are like really in there, so you got to use your fingers to really press it in. So my first negative would be, this, I wish it was just kind of snap in and it would have been there, but you do have to triple check to make sure it's on there, because I actually had this mounted onto my bike handles, and because it wasn't 100% on, it actually flew off onto the ground. Nothing was damaged, but yeah, just wanted to kind of let you know that. So you have to make sure that it's 100%, in there. The other thing that I will have to say was slightly annoying, but nothing to do with the drone itself, but more with the this thing right here, was that when you are operating this and this, but hey, let's say that you want to like change this actual camera setting, you have to go into the app, but all three of these things won't work. What you got to do is you need to essentially turn one of these things off and kind of restart it from the beginning and just have only two things going on at the same time. So for example, right now I had my app going on just right now. So then right now my phone and this drone is kind of a little bit more, they're kind of more attached. So now I have to kind of resync it. So the way to, instead of, it's asking me to repair it, but I don't want to repair it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna shut it down. I'm gonna shut this down. And then essentially I'm gonna restart both of them, and then I'm gonna restart this. So when I do that, so that's restarting, and this is restarting. So these should now connect.
Current mode, orbit.
And then another negative thing I have just is that when you are syncing up the drone to this beacon, it does take, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. As you can tell, it's still going. Oh, maybe it's not in the, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds. But it's a little bit much longer than your app. The app is almost like within a few seconds it will connect, but this one definitely takes a little bit longer. So now that these two are kind of paired up, I cannot use my phone unless I plug my phone into this thing. And in order to do that, I actually have to make sure I have one of these joysticks plugged in because this joystick has the USB-C cable, and then you got to use the USB-C cable that is provided to plug it into the phone. And yeah, so it's kind of a little bit of a process. The easiest way is to just power everything back down, power the drone on first, and then power up your phone so that those two are connected. Change your settings there. So I think that's like the only kind of major annoying part about it. But if you don't have the beacon, you don't need to worry about it. So with this beacon on, the great thing is, you can have a nice little live preview of what this thing is filming. The other great thing is that you can essentially record and stop recording by pressing this red button. You can essentially change your different modes.
Cycling mode. Dolly track.
And I like how that once these things are connected, it's pretty much instantaneously. There's no delay. There's no lag or anything like that, and so that's something I really do like. So this beacon does come with this kind of GoPro mount, which is kind of cool, and then also does have a little mounting hole. So if you wanted to put a tripod mount on, a tripod quick release plate or something like that, you can totally attach it there. Now, if you didn't want to attach it to the GoPro mount, and let's say that you were walking around, you can actually attach this kind of belt clip to it, which is nice. And then the belt clip, you can actually mount this onto maybe like your backpack strap or something like that. So you can just kind of mount it so it's like quickly with you all the time. So with these kind of joysticks, you can essentially just make sure it is attach it just like this. And make sure again those things are nice and on, and then you can attach your joystick things here. So there's actually options. And one thing I like about this versus the DJI, for example, is that you don't have to screw these in. You can essentially just push these guys in, and then there you have your kind of joystick. And now how to mount your phone? Essentially, you just kind of turn or push these guys out, turn them this way, and then that way you can mount your phone underneath. But the other thing that you have to add on to here is just that USB cable, which it does come with, and plug that into your phone, and then that way you can do this manual control just like a regular drone, and so you can actually fly it wherever you want to, just like a standard drone. So if you are interested in previewing what I'll be posting in the near future on YouTube, follow me on Instagram as I post previews to my stories. But let's wrap this video up. You're wondering if you should get the HOVERAir or not. Well, between the HOVERAir Pro and the non-Pro, definitely get the Pro just because it does have that 10-bit color. It's going to give you better color. Yes, it does do 8K, but for me, I don't care about the 8K. I feel like that's a little bit more of a gimmick. Some people will disagree with me, but the 10-bit color is going to be what I'm going for. So that's like the main thing. There's other small little details as well, but that's the big thing. But overall, I mean, I've been very happy and actually more surprised because honestly, when I got this product, I just thought that it would just be kind of like another toy that I may use here or there or not. However, I feel like just because it's so easy and I don't need a tripod and, I can actually just kind of get more dynamic in different shots when I'm solo filmmaking, especially when I'm, doing backpack reviews. This is a great tool to have as a content creator because I can film myself, not just, I can film myself walking, running, riding a bike, things like that, action type shots. And yeah, I've just been very, very happy overall with the quality of the product, as well as the integration with the app. They're constantly doing firmware updates. Yeah, so far, so good. But anyways, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and definitely don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Desy31.